Hello again, it's Noob, and well, this is something different. Sparrows sent me this item. This is the Sparrows Vault. A few weeks back now to have a play with, and this is my review of this. What is it? Well, it is, as you can see, a safe lock at the front, and all this is metal. This is some kind of heavy duty plastic, and just look at the hinge on this. That is a fierce hinge on there, very strong, I have to say. And on the back is the Sparrows logo, as you can see there. So this is the Sparrows Vault. What is it? Well, it isn't just a safe lock or a piggy bank as you might think it is. It's actually a practice safe. This is a tool, if you will, to practice cracking these 3-dial safes. And there is a specific technique, or set of techniques, I should say more accurately, that you will need to employ to learn how to, well, crack safes like this. Okay, so let's have a look on the inside. Just move this over here and then flip it over for you. There you go. And you can see what's on the inside of the vault. No, it's not loads and loads of jewels and gold coins and bonds and things like that. No, this is actually just some nice, what's probably like an ABS foam with lots of goodies on the inside. So there we are with everything unpacked from the case. And what do we have inside? Well, we have 3 extra levers, not including the ones in the case, which we'll show later. And I'll go into what to use these for later, but essentially they're there to provide a graduated way to learn safe decoding. You have some springs which attach to levers on the inside in case you need some spares, which I think is a really nice thing. You actually have probably the most important thing in the kit itself, which is a little screwdriver, which is just a nice addition. Everybody has a flathead screwdriver, but it's nice to have one in the kit because you will be needing to go in and out of the casing to swap levers around and explore the inside, etc. And last but not least, a tool which I would advise caution in using unless you fully understand and follow the instructions that Sparrows provide. And this is actually a change key, so in theory you could put this in, do some stuff, I won't go into it, and you can change the code of the safe to whatever you wish, which is kind of cool, as long as you follow the rules. Like I said, don't mess around with this until you know how to use it. So I've just taken the back cover off, and you can see where that came off from, and you can see the inside. You have the bolt itself here, which is obviously retracted so that I can open this up. You have a relocker, which basically means it's quite an interesting little sprung device here, and once you close the bolt, then this drops down, so the bolt can't be retracted until you put the code back in, which is kind of a little cool mechanism. You have the lever here, and there's a nose or a stump on the lever, and this is engaged with this drive cam here. So, and it's really interesting because this drive cam essentially is once all the wheels, and this is the wheel pack here, are aligned, all the gates corresponding with the correct numbers that you dial in are aligned. That allows this lever to drop down, engage with this cam mechanism, and as you then turn the dial at the front of the safe, this will drag the bolt and retract it out of the way. What I think we should do is show both the front and the back when we actually unlock the safe using the dial. Just a small spoiler warning, the numbers that I put into my safe might be similar to the ones that you have on your safe, so if that bothers you, just skip forwards about 1 minute 30 seconds to the rest of the review. And what we're going to first do is turn this dial 4 times counterclockwise at least. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then going to stop on the number which is the first number, which is the first wheel, which is closest to us, which is 26. So I'm just going to go all the way there and accurately stop on 26. It does matter. This is actually a relatively good quality safe lock inside, and the gates aren't very forgiving. Then you want to move to clockwise, going past the second number for the gate in the second wheel, which is the middle wheel, which brings you to 69 once, twice, and then we stop on 69 on the third time, which is there, as accurately as we can. And then we do twice to the third number, which is 44, so go past it once. There's once. And we stop on it for the second time as accurately as we can, counterclockwise. There we go. And then we turn it, and you'll see this engage. The lever has engaged with the drive cam, and as long as this is pressed in, as if the back plate were on, you can see it withdraw. So let's see that quickly from the other side, so you'll see how it all works. You've got a lever here, and you can see the wheel pack 3 wheels deep. Each one of these has these cutouts in it called the gate. You can imagine that this lever here is riding above those wheels, like on my finger, and then once all the gates are aligned, it can drop down where that gap is. That means that this nose will be able to engage in the valley of the drive cam here, and we'll be able to retract the bolt. So let's do this very quickly. So we just need to go around 4 times and then stop on the first number. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then stop on the first number. So here we go. Do that accurately, and then you need to go 3 times around to the third number. So that's once, twice, and then we stop on the third number. And then what we want to do is go forwards again, twice round to the third number, which is the third wheel. So that's once, and then hopefully you'll see this gate move round here as it goes all the way around, and it will stop at the third number underneath here. But this lever won't drop down into the gap yet, for one very good reason, and that's because it's riding on the drive cam at the moment, and then it will align and then drop down as you just saw. Now you can see that this cam mechanism is joined directly to the bolt, so that when I just press in this little relocker mechanism, as if the back of the case was on, it's actually quite an interesting security feature. Once the back of the case is off, it will sort of stop the bolt from retracting, which is kind of cool. So once you put some pressure on there, you can retract the bolt and it opens. And you can keep doing that while that relocker is out of position, but as soon as it locks, it'll snap into a little gap on the bolt, and that's it then. You can't do anything apart from turn it to scramble the wheels. So how do you use these levers and the safe lock itself to learn how to do safe cracking? Well, Sparrows have put a really detailed guide about how to graph or decode, if you will, these type of safe locks, which are relatively common. And like I said, the one that's in here appears to be quite a good quality one. And that guide is available on their website, which I think is really cool. So once you buy that, you can download their guide. You'll learn all about how to crack the safe. I won't go through it because this is actually a relatively lengthy process, but I'll go through the rudiments first off. So interestingly, although you put the code in wheel 1, then wheel 2, then wheel 3, when you're decoding the safe, you'll be ascertaining the third wheel gate number first. So you'll actually be decoding the third wheel, which is the last number you'd normally dial in first, then you go to the middle, and then you go to the end. Now, if you look at these levers here, these spare levers, you can see that some of them are different lengths. That is because this lever here engages only with wheel 3 and 2. This one engages with 3, 2 and 1. So technically you can open this with only knowing 2 numbers. This you'd need to ascertain all 3. Interestingly, there is another feature and why there are 4 levers instead of just 2, and that is, if you look here, there are steps on this lever. Can you see? Step 1, 2 and 3. And that is designed to allow readings from this mechanism to be gauged a lot more cleanly. So in here is the 2-wheel stepped lever. That's where you start with. Then you'd move up to the 2-lever flat lever, which would mean that the decoding of this is a little harder. Then you go to the 3-stepped and then the 3-flat. Very cool. Essentially what you're trying to look for is, well, let's pretend we're trying to decode the 3rd wheel, which is this one. At the moment I'm on a number, and then what I'm doing is I'm just turning, so I've turned to my number, and that number, well, it's actually 90, would you believe, on the front dial. Then I turn it clockwise a bit, and you can hear that? Then listen. Can you hear that? That's actually the sound, and of course I can feel that on the other side of the nose of this lever engaging with the valley in this drive cam. Touch point, left touch point, right touch point, at least the way we're viewing it. So there you go, left and right, left and right. That'll translate differently when you're looking from the front, naturally. Left and right. Very cool. Now let's turn the dial to the actual number it should be, which I believe is about there. And then I turn it, and what should happen is that this will fall deeper into this valley, and the touch point from side to side, because it's deeper, will be a shorter distance between the left and the right touch points. So that's what you're feeling for. So you'll put a number in and you'll feel for those touch points. You'll put another number in, you'll feel for that touch point. You put another number in, you'll feel for that touch point, and you build up a graph. Now, Sparrows actually have included some blank graphing charts so that you can maybe move 1, 2 or 2.5 numbers at a time per wheel, and you will graph the touch points, what you feel, the left and right touch points as you move along. And then as you'll see a dip as the touch points get closer and closer, that'll strongly indicate that that is the actual number where the gate on the wheel that you are graphing at the time is related to. So you do that for the first, and then you do it for the second, then you do it for the third. And well, if that's the levers you put in, and you know, this takes some time, it takes a bit of patience, takes a steady hand and a sharp mind, and I really enjoyed it. I spent my first time I picked this whole safe lock up, I probably spent about 3 hours straight just playing around with it, watching the wheels, reading the instructions that Sparrows provided, understanding the instructions. And I think that's the key thing I learnt, is that actually the theory is relatively basic about, you know, the fact that you've got gates, the fact the lever will drop deeper into this valley, the fact that therefore your touch points will be further apart the further away from the gate you are, and closer when you're in the gate. And that theory is relatively simple, but the actual mechanism by which you derive the numbers per wheel and how you need to manipulate the dial at the front to get there, that I think just takes a little bit of time. So I think this will really, really appeal to, well, actually probably most lock pickers, people who actually like a challenge, like to be able to get involved with the mechanics, learning how a lock works, feeling for that subtle change as you go from one state to the next. Being patient, making graphs, changing up these levers to try and make it harder or more difficult. I think that would appeal to pretty much every picker that I personally know. And I actually think that Sparrow's done a really good job here of putting together a package of not only this lock in its housing, but also the instructions and different types of lever to allow beginners to engage with safe cracking. So there is the, well, pretty unique Sparrows Vault. I don't know of any other lock pick or locksmith tool manufacturer out there who's making anything quite like this for people to learn how to manipulate safes of this kind. And yeah, I just think it's fascinating. I mean, I really like the aesthetics of this. I really like the kind of the brushing on the plastic. I like the heavy duty hinge. I like the solid feel of the dial. I even like the branding. I just really like this. It actually looks really nice on my shelf, and that's where it's going to stay because I think it's a great talking point. I think that you will be getting some real value for money on this, and this at the moment on Sparrow's website is going for $129, and that isn't inexpensive, but I'm just thinking how much time I've put into this already and how much time I will be putting into this, and I just, yeah, I think that this is going to appeal to a lot of pickers. So I think if you're interested in safe locks and you have the resources to be able to purchase it, I couldn't recommend it more. I just think it's really fascinating. Maybe I'm, blown away by its novelty. I don't know, but all I can really say is I personally enjoyed exploring this, and I can't wait to explore it even more. I've already done some rudimentary graphing of some wheels, and yeah, it's just really good fun. So there you go. That's the Sparrows Vault. I'm pretty sure it'll appeal to a lot of you out there. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you all next time.